Hello, welcome to the December edition of CGov's The Parish Line. We cover the events, programs, and policies of the Calcasieu Parish Police Jury. On this month's program, we'll take a look at the plans for our Office of Human Services in 2013, see an emergency drill that included our parish responders, and visit an annual campaign that's a favorite of the police jury at holiday time. The police jury opened 2 residential solid waste disposal sites 1 year ago this month. The sites are on Swift Plant Road east of Lake Charles and on Post Oak Road in Sulphur near the West and East Public Works facilities. In the first year of their operation, they've been a tremendous success, giving citizens a convenient and free place to bring disposable items and reducing illegal dumping.
They have been open right at 1 year. We opened them right after Christmas last year, and we have had year-to-date in excess of 13,000 parish visitors, which we feel like is a huge success. We have, with those visitors, have disposed of in excess of 18,000 yards of waste and have collected about 2,000 plus yards of metal waste that we've recycled. That's brought the parish about $48,000 in revenue that helps support the site. And we've also collected about 600 plus yards of other recyclable waste that has gone to a recycle center in Beaumont. Things such as plastic, tin, paper, cardboard boxes, all that kinds of stuff.
The waste sites were part of a 1.5 cent sales tax renewal for road maintenance and solid waste in 2010. As part of the renewal, parish officials promised the opening of the facilities. One of the goals was to reduce the amount of illegal dumping.
Back in 2008, when we implemented the litter program, we really got tough on the illegal dumping. And when we would catch people, a lot of people said, not all of them, but many of them said, look, we really want to dump this refrigerator somewhere where we're supposed to one of these private dump sites, but it's just too expensive for us. We just don't have the money. They still broke the law, but we understood what they were saying, and so throughout the many years it's taken to take the convenience centers and make it a reality, we're now seeing that many of those who got in trouble in the past were probably right and probably speaking for a large part of our community, because since the convenience centers have been open, we're finding it very hard to find actual dumping sites.
That success, we've seen an enormous difference in what our road crews that clean ditches and patch the road potholes, they're not getting asked to stop that work to go and pick up trash nearly as often, which is huge for us, and it increases our productivity and our ability to get to drainage issues and potholes much quicker, because we don't have these other smaller things that we have to take time to go and do.
Our litter inmate crews, we have 2 crews, one for the east side and one for the west side of the parish. These litter inmate crews go out 4 days a week on an all-day shift, and they just go and clean up the areas. And we require them to keep a log. The deputies are there to keep a log of where they go, the amount of trash they're picking up, what's in the trash, that kind of information. And we can show by data from a year ago to at this point, where it's been a year that the convenience centers have been open, we can show that there's a drastic reduction. Even if you take the data apart, if you put that to the side, the deputies themselves are saying, in the past, we could go on any street that we knew had a habitual problem, and within 30 seconds there'd be stuff. It's now for them, it's like, we have to go find stuff sometimes.
The waste sites are available for any parish resident. Site users are required to present proof of residency when they check in.
Any parish resident, it's a residential waste site. Commercial waste is not accepted, or industrial waste is not accepted. It's a residential waste site, so any resident with basically anything to dispose of, we'll take almost anything. We are open Thursday through Monday, so that's basically the weekend plus a couple days either side, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we're open through lunch, so the gates are open 100% of the time during those hours. We're closed on Tuesdays and Wednesdays to clean the site up, dispose of everything we've collected, and generally get ready for a new week.
The great thing about the convenience centers is that, we are seeing a lot of the white goods, the mattresses, the big items that would normally be thrown in the ditch. being sent to the convenience centers, and that's the big plus. The one area that we are really trying to get out and the message to the community on is, these convenience centers will also accept, dead animals. And what I mean by that is, it's hunting season right now. When you kill a deer and, you're done with processing it and there's the remains that you're not going to use, a lot of people are dumping them in ditches and all that. We don't want that to happen. That's a major problem, and it's against the law. It is considered littering. So we will take it at the convenience centers. As long as you double bag it and bring it, it's going to be accepted. And we really want to get that message out across to everybody, and it's not just for hunters. We're also thinking about crawfish season. With crawfish season, we have crawfish heads everywhere. It's a major nuisance, an odor, and a littering violation. So we're hoping to get the word out. And we're also working on an awareness campaign to stress that people, you can go out and you can use your dead animals or the waste of crawfish or seafood, bring it to the convenience centers.
It has helped tremendously, and what we would hope is that the longer we're open, the more people become aware of our availability, and that it'll continue to improve.
The sites have been forced to limit acceptance of metal items recently after a pair of incidents in which the dumped metal contained higher than acceptable radiation levels. Radiation detectors are being installed that will allow residents to once again dispose of all metal items, and they should be operational by mid-January. The building that houses the police jury's Office of Human Services is getting a facelift and some new programs in 2013. J.P. Booth brings us up to date.
The police jury's newest department, the Office of Human Services, recently moved to a new home at 2001 Moling Street. Director Tarek Polite tells us about the renovations coming to the building, as well as new programs starting in the coming year.
The location here at Moling Street is approximately 30 years old, and during that time frame, the building has not had any substantial capital improvements in that 30-year period. And so with our coming here, we've made some changes, some capital improvements in 2012, and we're going to be continuing those capital improvements in 2013. One of the big projects that we're very excited about is the relocation of our contract postal unit, which is a partnership between the U.S. Postal Office, the City of Lake Charles, and the police jury. We'll be relocating to another location here in our building, from pretty much in the rear of the building to the front of the building. And part of the reason why we're doing that is to take advantage of the Enterprise Boulevard extension that is currently occurring through the City of Lake Charles. We're seeing an increase of traffic in this area, and we're hoping by relocating the postal unit to the front of the building that it will provide more access and increase service volume. Currently, our contract postal office offers just about any service that you can get at any of the postal offices here in our area. However, we are looking to expand our services here at Moling Street to include copy service and fax service for the people of this community. There's already an entrance to the building, and we're going to be taking advantage of that entrance. And what it will do will allow us to be able to allow persons who have post office boxes. Many people don't realize that people can rent post office boxes here. It'll give them greater access to those post office boxes after hours. And so we're looking at expanding the hours of the post office, at least where people will be able to physically be able to come in and to check their post office boxes to a time after 5 o'clock. Currently, they're only able to do it up until 5 o'clock when we're here, but when we make the renovations will accommodate where they will be able to come into the post office a little bit after that, maybe until about 7 o'clock is what we're thinking. The front lobby is going to get a much needed facelift. As we've already mentioned, the building is about 30-something years old, and unfortunately during that time frame, to my knowledge, there's not been any substantial capital improvements made to the building. And so as you go through the lobby, you can tell that it's very dated and so forth, and so we're going to give it a more modern look and some fresh paint for 2013. We have consolidated a lot of programs over the last 18 months since I've been Director of Human Services, and one of those programs is our dental program. For many years we utilized a program where local dentists from our area, they volunteered and they came in and they provided services to individuals who were low to moderate income. Unfortunately, over the years, that program really declined, and we had to find a new way to be able to provide dental services for low to moderate income individuals. And so just a few weeks ago, we launched a new dental discount program through NACO. However, what that's done, though, it's left a lot of space here in the building that will be converted to office space to accommodate new programs that we plan on bringing online in 2013. Among those programs is the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program, which is VITA. We're working with United Way with that particular project, and this location will be a location where individuals who need assistance with their taxes, where they will be able to come and be able to get that. The second program that's going to be huge for us in 2013 is the Summer Food Feeding Program. In 2012, we conducted a series of community meetings and events, and one of the things that came out of that meeting was that unfortunately there's no feeding sites in the unincorporated areas. There are feeding sites in the city of Lake Charles, but there were none in the unincorporated areas. So in 2013, the police jury is going to be partnering with the unincorporated municipalities and providing this particular service.
For the Parish Line, I'm J.P. Booth.
The Human Services Department is a consolidation of the Office of Community Services, Housing, and the Workforce Investment Board, and is located at 2001 Moling Street in Lake Charles. This is the Parish Line, a production of CGov, the Calcasieu Parish Government Channel. The Calcasieu Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness works with multiple emergency response teams in order to train their responders. Molly Morgan reports on a major drill by local authorities.
Times have changed drastically for all of us, causing the need for emergency workers to be trained for any and all types of emergencies. Emergency Response Coordinator Rob Daldrell talks about how that's changed.
Well, every year we're required by different agencies, and other different agencies are required to do exercises in the community. And a lot of them have to include various different aspects. In this exercise, we tested a lot of different things, from the airport to the hospitals to the fire departments and everyone else that are required to have exercises. So it's a lot easier for us to have one large exercise to test all of these parameters at one time. When we have an exercise like this, we have set guidelines that we go by, objectives. And once those objectives are met, they're checked off and they're evaluated on those objectives.
Daldrell explains the drill's objectives.
We did approximately 10 different venues, I guess you might say, from the healthcare to firefighting to triage for the pre-hospital, medical surge, security, and various things like that. And each one of those can be even further subdivided down into different areas.
Each exercise requires months of preparation before it can be completed.
This exercise started probably about 6 to 8 months ago when the Lake Charles Regional Airport said they needed their annual exercise. And when we started that, we decided what we needed to do, how to plan it, and then we started on the scenario. And this scenario was based on a couple of factors that we had to include. Number one, being a security breach to meet the airport's mandated requirements, and then they are also required to do a firefighting mass casualty incident as if a plane had crashed. And then we also did the mass casualty for the hospitals to include them in also on this. But our scenario was that we had a disgruntled employee that made some threats, and the sheriff's department, the police department, law enforcement had to go in and check on those threats, and then it progressed on into a domestic type terrorism event where the individual was vowed to disrupt and destroy the airlines, which he did in various different ways. And so we had our security breach, and then ultimately he crashed into the plane and destroyed the plane, causing loss of life and massive injuries. And in his leaving, he also left a improvised device for the bomb squad to have to defuse.
The Calcasieu Medical Reserve Corps played an important role in the drill.
We provided all the volunteers to work in the areas as victims. We had volunteers come in and start at 6 o'clock in the morning, where makeup was applied to them, the Moulin Rouge, to look like actual victims in a crash. So this was our part in the drill. Plus we brought in some of the equipment that was used during the drill, like the vest and signs and things that were used during emergencies.
Volunteers with the CMRC played a vital role during the event.
I got to play a victim. I was actually a burn victim, and we had to come in early this morning to get all made up, and they had me covered in burn blisters and things. So when the firefighters came in, they had to sort of triage us and work out what was wrong, and then they had to be able to sort of treat us and move us without causing more damage to us. It was a lot of fun. I got to scream loudly and make lots of noise.
The Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness is host to at least one exercise on a quarterly basis. For the Parish Line, I'm Molly Morgan.
The next airport drill is scheduled to take place in the spring of 2013. The Calcasieu Parish Police Jury, along with other partners, helped fund the creation of a historical marker honoring a military facility in Calcasieu Parish that dates back nearly 100 years. Here's Jessica Williamson.
The corner of Highway 27 and Old Camp Road marks Kircher Field, the first military airfield in Louisiana. The U.S. Army Signal Corps began training fighter pilots there in 1917.
This was a very, very early exploration of aviation particularly in warfare. It was established specifically for World War I, which people don't realize there was an air component to World War I. The Air Signal Corps established the base here, and it actually was a double base. This was the ideal location as far as the Army Air Signal Corps was concerned, because we had flat terrain, we had good rail connections so they could get materials in and out. It was fairly unoccupied airspace, which means that it wasn't near a big congested city that would have had other elements that would have prevented aviation. And they were able to explore what it takes to be successful in military air maneuvers. Several procedures were created at Kircher Field, like air ambulance services, dogfight pursuit techniques, and probably most importantly, the concept of pilot-to-ground communication, which we certainly take for granted now, but it was absolutely brand new. It was an absolutely new technology in 1917.
Pilots tested dropping distances for potential bombs using a common kitchen staple.
They used sacks of flour and would drop them, and where the flour would land, then the plane would circle back around and find out where the flour landed, and that's how they would train for bombing at that time. And then they told me the stories about the mayor of New York City joining the service and coming down for training, and was training for bombing and fell out of the plane and was killed.
A historical marker was placed off the beaten path and went missing, prompting Buzzy Bruno to take action.
When I was a young boy, my grandfather would bring me by, and we would go down Old Camp Road, and I would see pieces of old buildings and things there, and he told me that at that time that there was one of the largest camps, training camps in the world, right here, and it was hard to believe by just seeing just barren land with a bunch of old torn up buildings there.
While the site has changed purposes over the years, the aviation industry remains a large part of the area. Chennault International Airport's namesake, Lieutenant General Claire Chennault, was trained at Kircher Field.
The fact that the base was here so early on, and we're talking almost 100 years now, this actually introduced an entirely new industry to Southwest Louisiana. And you can actually sort of trace the lines from Kircher Field through the Army airfield, the Lake Charles Air Base, as it was called during World War II, through Chenault SAC base, which actually had the bomb here. We had the bomb in Southwest Louisiana, through to what's going on now at Chenault Industrial Air Park with the airframe services and all of this. All of that aviation activity can be traced back to this early, very early introduction, a sort of a seed planted in 1917 that said this area would look to the skies for industry.
The memorial sign goes a long way to helping Creole Nature Trail travelers in visualizing what would have been at Kircher Field nearly 100 years ago.
It's a lot easier to remember your history if you can see part of it as you drive by. And Kircher still has remnants of the original field that was established back in 1917. The runways are still there. The foundations of the barracks and the warehouses and the garage shops are all still there. Even parts of the sewage system is still there, and the rail line is still there. So there are architectural remnants that can tell us a lot about what it was like to be and to work at an Army Air Signal Corps base in 1917.
For the Parish Line, I'm Jessica Williamson.
The late Robert C. Benoit, who worked for the Lake Charles American Press for many years, was instrumental in documenting the history of Kircher Field. The Toys for Tots program is collecting toys for children in Southwest Louisiana, and the Calcasieu Parish Police Jury is a major contributor. Margaret Higgins has the story on this year's campaign.
It's the time of year where the spirit of giving is alive and well. To help make Christmas brighter for many children in the parish, the Toys for Tots campaign is in full swing. Human Services Director Tarek Polite tells us how the Calcasieu Parish Police Jury is involved with this program.
The police jury is a contributor, a funder for the Toys for Tots program, and has been for many years. And so it's a collaboration that the police jury has enjoyed over the years to make sure that those children who are less fortunate, that they have toys during the Christmas season. About 1,500 kids were assisted last year with toys. This year the numbers are a little bit slower, and that can be contributed to many factors. One of those factors may be that people are doing better and may not need the assistance. Another one of those factors may be that there's so many programs in our area now that they are getting assistance from other programs. But we have about 900 or so people to date that have signed up for assistance this year.
Toys for Tots coordinator, Commandant John Lamar, explains how this program began.
In Los Angeles in 1947, Major Bill Hendricks' wife designed a raglan doll and they did not have any children, so she asked him to go out in the street and find a little girl to give it to her. 1948, the Marine Corps went ahead and adopted Toys for Tots nationwide, and they did 450 million toys.
Lamar shares with us who developed the logo.
Walt Disney, Nat King Cole, Peggy Lee, they all had some input on the Toys for Tots logo.
Co-chair for Southwest Louisiana, Dana Rodriguez, informs us about the Stuff a Bus program Toys for Tots participates in annually.
Every year Toys for Tots has a Stuff a Bus. It's the weekend after Thanksgiving. It's available for the community to come out and to be able to donate an unwrapped brand new toy. We also accept monetary gifts, and by the end of the event, most of the time the entire bus is completely stuffed and those toys will go for the dispersion day. Whenever the Stuff a Bus is complete, we come back to this warehouse and we'll have the bags and stuff that are like this. We have the volunteers that come out and we'll separate the bags for boys and girls and age groups, which is usually 1 to 12. And we will count the toys, make sure every toy is numbered, and then we separate them to get ready to be shipped off to the Civic Center.
The Toys for Tots Foundation has been a part of Southwest Louisiana for 34 years. For the Parish Line, I'm Margaret Higgins.
Toys for Tots is in need of toys for children ages 9 to 12. You can also make monetary donations by visiting their website for more information. That's the Parish Line for this month. Get more information on all of these stories or watch the Parish Line on the web at cppj.net.